And welcome into the Monday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first of what could be many Mondays this year of the aftermath of a Tennessee Titans loss. Joe? We got a lot to get into on the program today. We got people texting us before the show about the coach. We got a whole lot of stuff to talk about today. How we doing?
Well, I'm pretty tired because on top of all that, I watched one of the most ridiculous games I've ever seen last night. Whoever is up now and who watched that game, my goodness, an all-timer. So before we get into the Titans, I do want to throw out real quick. If you're a Titans fan, you must love that Baltimore. I mean, to me, that's one of the all-time chokes. But it was Derrick Henry's fumble who created it. So Is that creating any conflict? There's my little question of the day.
There's something to
little
ponder.
Side question of the day. What an insane game.
I would say yes for me.
Yes.
A little bit conflicted.
A little bit conflicted. Like you wish it was anybody but
I
him
feel bad.
who choked that game away. Yeah. I mean, like if Hopkins did, you would have been, boy, whatever, sure.
Yeah.
And he had an incredible catch, by the way.
Sure did. He just poked that one out there, and I was like, man, there must just be, you know how we talk about here in Nashville, like the snow bubble, or it's like we just got this bubble that lives above us that just the snow never comes. Good football players, other than Derrick Henry, it's just like, well, nothing ever happens here, and then they go somewhere else and immediately just start producing. It's amazing.
Just doing, yeah. Derrick Henry is just, I mean, like Derrick Henry,
he's a unicorn.
It's a tough loss. I still actually am 100% confident in my Super Bowl pick.
They're going to
be Ravens. Fine. They're unbelievable. Now the Bills are great too, but like Derrick Henry might be the all-time rusher. He might freaking do it, man.
He's got about slowing down.
He's got about 6,000 more yards to go. Like I'm not gonna. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's unbelievable.
What did he end up with last night? 180, somewhere around there.
170 something last I heard. So yeah.
I mean, he's looks like he's going to be right near 2,000 again. Like it's unbelievable. I watched him break that first touchdown run last night. Joe was just like, okay, he's still Derrick Henry. Good to know.
There he is. Yeah,
good to know.
So that was a nice. Also, of course, again the way it ended in the game, insane game. But also, it was one of those. Hey, if you're a Titans fan who is now staring at the prospect of a horrific 2025 season, here, watch some players that used to play for the Tennessee Titans who are still great.
Well, on the Titans front, we got a lot to discuss today. We're going to get into Brian Callahan because I just thought he had a horrible day yesterday. I thought he was awful. And then he got up in the post-game press conference and started talking about stuff and apparently doesn't know a rule, which is a huge problem. So we're going to get into that a little bit later in the show as well. So my general takeaway is from the game yesterday is this. Denver tried, 5-6 times to hand you the football game yesterday, and you just kept handing it back to them. That's my general takeaway. Like, I thought Bo Nix was awful. I think he's terrible yesterday in that game.
It wasn't a good start for him.
He made that rollout to the left where he just throws a jump ball, and Roger McCreary makes a great play on it and picks him off. Jeffrey Simmons, besides the penalty that we'll get into a little bit later, I thought looked good, was explosive yesterday, got after the quarterback. Like the Titans defense, for the most part, hung in there and did pretty well. And again, here we are, Joe. And I understand it, it didn't take long to figure out that Denver's defense is really, really good. But here we are again, talking about some of the same themes of last year, right? Of, my goodness, the Titans sure did have a whole lot of penalties out there. And, oh, look, the Titans didn't score a touchdown in a game. And, oh, look, the Titans scored 9 points in the first half and then only scored 3 in the second half. Like, it just feels like Groundhog Day from some of the same stuff we were talking about a year ago, Joe.
Yeah, it's like you said, the biggest thing beyond Callahan. I think Callahan is probably the story of the day and not the story you want if you're the Titans, if you're a Titans fan. I guess unless you're a Titans fan who was already totally out on him, then congrats, because he didn't help himself yesterday. But like the just complete just lack of a lot of things, discipline among them in a game that, like you said, was absolutely there because Denver came out and was all kinds of a mess, really, in a lot of ways. And I agree. I think that, I mean, look, I guess the biggest takeaway, if you really want to talk about what we've been talking about all summer, what's the most important thing is Cam Ward. I thought it was a pretty good day for him. I came away pretty impressed with him. Not altogether, like those 2 sacks he took were like, what are you doing? But also the second one was like, wait a minute, there's no quick outlet on this play. Like, what do you do? But it's a lot of stuff. So look, Cam Ward, I came away, I guess. So if you want to really go big picture, everybody thinks they're going to stink this year anyway. Well, and it's about Cam Ward. He was pretty good. I mean, there's promise there, but there's so much wrong, and offensively in particular, like and it's like Denver's good on D, so you knew, like the Titans scoring 12 points doesn't shock me, right?
Right.
Not getting a touchdown, disappointing, doesn't shock me, but the discombobulated nature of way too many plays too for the Titans. People seeming to be out of position, out of place. First game, yeah, it's a first game, but you saw too much of that last year too. And again, I think that speaks to just not a well-coached enough team, if that's a term. Well-coached enough? Sure.
Well, and you ended up with 13 penalties for 131 yards in the game, which is just, I mean, you can't win in the NFL. The Titans had 133 yards of total offense and 131 yards of penalties. Like, when you've got as many penalty yards as you do offensive yards, that's not a very good formula there. And look, we can talk about some of the calls because I didn't love the first Jarvis Brownlee illegal contact. I thought that was pretty soft. Like, there wasn't. The officials weren't very good yesterday. Me and Ian were talking about that before the show. Like, the amount of times that people had to challenge stuff yesterday because they couldn't get a spot right was ridiculous to me. Like, we got to be better at spotting the football in the National Football League. So I did not think it was a very good day for the officials. But, like, the Jeffrey Simmons play at the end of the game. I'm sorry. You can think that that's soft if you want to, I guess. But that penalty's getting called. Like, there's no reason for Jeffrey Simmons to engage on that play when Cody Barton is driving the guy back 8 yards in the backfield. Like, there's no positive that comes from that if you're Jeffrey Simmons.
It's completely idiotic. And I went and watched, I rewound it a few times, and it's like the whistle is blowing clearly before he can even get there to shove him.
Yeah.
Is it that much of a shove? No, but like, dude, what are you thinking? I mean, at any point in a game, it's stupid. In a close game when you're behind, what? And your guy has him. It's over, and the whistle is blowing, and then you shove. I'm not going to hear anybody complain about the refs with that. Like, they call this all the time now. Like, this is the NFL now, and everybody who plays in it should have known this 10 years ago, let alone now. It's unbelievable.
Well, and again, I talked about the first Brownlee illegal contact. He got called for a pass interference later. Brownlee's good. He has taken a lot of penalties last year, and right now we're off to a start where he's taking a lot of penalties this year, and it didn't seem like he had much of an answer for it yesterday in the post-game press conference, so there's a lot to get into on that front too. It just, to me, it screamed undisciplined, which when you combine undisciplined and not that talented, that's not good. And what have we talked about all offseason? Yes, their roster is bad, and their roster was bad last year, and everybody's going to look at Will Levis last year and talk about how bad he was, and I agree. Like, that was the primary reason why they weren't very good. But if you're Brian Callahan, your football team needs to display some qualities at some point that would suggest that you are coaching them and coaching them well. And I thought the first game yesterday, I looked at it and I said, well, they got undisciplined penalties all the time out here. 13 penalties for 131 yards. Your offense look, as you said, totally discombobulated. You're at some point completely terrified to call pass plays out there. And then when you should be terrified to call pass plays, you start dropping back on your own goal line. Like it just, and we're going to get into that too. But I just thought the whole thing, if you are trying to look out there as a Titans fan and say, well, let's look for signs that Brian Callahan doesn't totally suck as a head coach, yesterday was a horrible day for you because he sucked yesterday.
Yeah, it was bad. And again, if you want to break up the coaching, good job. The special teams flip around. Okay. The special teams switch seems to be good. I did think Denard Wilson had a good day.
I do.
I thought it was a well-called defensive game and a well-played, other than those penalties. And Brownlee, it's I'm with you. The first one was overall, he's too handsy, and I think he's also a guy that now people look for. And so, but they did more than enough to give you a chance to win the game. The part of the team that is Callahan's baby is just a mess. And, we're going to get into all this stuff, but I will say too, I don't think Dan Moore is going to have anybody, calling it over like, oh, they finally figured it out left tackle. It'll be better, but there was some ugly moments there too. Now, when it's Benito, that's one thing, but I feel like basically everybody he saw, at least at one point, torched him yesterday.
Well, I mean, it gets back to the whole, some of the comments in the offseason, well, he played in the AFC North, and there's TJ Watt, and there's Trey Hendrickson, and there's Myles Garrett, so he's not going to be in that division. It's like, well, yeah, nobody else got any good pass rushers. He's really good, except for against good pass rushers out there.
And they're like, oh, my God, I get to play against Dan Moore.
Yeah. That's the other thing. And we'll get into this, too, throughout the show. But offensive line, you gave up 6 sacks yesterday. Now, I think a couple of them definitely on the quarterback. And we'll see how much more was on the quarterback. But, again, 6 sacks, and the quarterback got hit 12 times yesterday. Those are very familiar numbers if you watch the Titans over the last couple of years.
Yeah. And no touchdowns, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get excited, Titans fans.
Get excited. Here we go.
The season has begun, baby.
I gotta say, Ed, real quick. He said, I bet you Callahan's team lost in the offseason.
That's pretty good. We're going to get into the Brian Callahan part of this coming up next. As I said, if you are a Titans fan that was looking for signs that Callahan is not completely awful as a coach, and yesterday was not a great day for you. We'll have more on that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
You spent the entire offseason talking about mitigating the sins. When you have a day like today, is that discouraging? You come out and put up 30 yards?
Yeah, I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in that. I didn't obviously foresee that being the reason that would make the game really challenging. So, yeah, disappointed. I thought we would be better than we were, and we weren't. So we got some things to clean up, and we got to get ready to go for the next one.
As Brian Callahan in the aftermath of the 20-12 loss for the Denver Broncos, against the Denver Broncos yesterday for the Titans. Is bad day for Brian Callahan on multiple fronts. As you mentioned, the offense looked discombobulated. I at one point in the game, I was looking around like, I understand you're on the road. You got a rookie quarterback. It's making his first start. You're going up against a really good defense. So there's some natural, conservative play calling that will take place when that's the situation. I did reach a point in the game yesterday. I was like, well, you got to be a little less conservative than this. Like, you do have to try at some point to throw the ball. And I thought they just got into too many situations where it was just way too conservative. And then, of course, what everybody's going to talk about today, Joe, is right before halftime, you've got a lead. It's 6-3. There's 47 seconds left in the half, and you're on your own 7-yard line. And all you got to do basically is just turn around, hand the ball off, get to half with a lead. And that's the time of the game where he decides that he's going to try to be aggressive and start throwing the ball. And they drop back 3 times. 2 of them are incomplete. Cam Ward gets sacked and is lucky to not get a safety on the other one. And then Denver scores a touchdown right before the half, and it completely flips the game. Where, again, Denver was not very good. Like, Bo Nix was not very good, and you just basically handed him a touchdown there before the half. I just – those two things, with how conservative you were throughout the entirety of the game, and then choosing that time to not be conservative, I thought was just ridiculous from Brian Callahan yesterday.
Yeah, well, I agree, that contrast. I could separate out whether you're conservative or not in any other part of the game. That's just coaching malpractice.
Yes,
on its own.
Terrible. Yeah.
I don't care what else you did the rest of the game. It's coaching malpractice right there. And, if Denver has 3 timeouts, then you can make the case, well, okay, they're going to burn them all if we just run, and then we're going to have to punt on the end zone, and they're going to have time to get a field goal. So, okay, so it's worth maybe trying to safe pass or 2 here, try to get a first down. But they had 2 timeouts. You're up, you run. You go into the halftime with a lead. It's a game management complete fail. And he knew it after the game. And, the defensiveness is starting to show a little bit with Callahan. There's some Callahan-Kaharski conversations that are just beautiful.
Well, let's play that
on the horizon here.
We've got that, Ian. It's the first time that I can really remember. I'm sure it probably happened at some point last year with how bad the season was, but not very often. I don't remember it all that much. Got a little snarky with Kaharski yesterday. Here was that exchange between Brian Callahan and PK.
Horizontal passing qualify as aggressive there. What did you see that showed you that throwing the ball sideways is going to get you around?
Did you have the play calls, Paul? Did you see him?
No.
Okay. Well,
What were you expecting out of it?
we had a couple aggressive play calls down the field, try to work across the field with some of the man coverage they were playing. So we just didn't hold up well enough in protection. They covered it pretty well.
Getting a little snarky there. Little snarky.
Oh, you had some deep shots. That's from your own end zone. And you're surprised your pass protection didn't hold up. Wow.
He might have got away with a hold on the safety.
Yeah.
On that play, I think, honestly.
I think they did.
More.
What a revelation. It's just terrible game management. I mean, there's no excuse. Now, to your point, too, I thought the biggest of all the, the conservative play calling, running it pretty well. There was definitely some interior run stuff that was good in this game. I think that that middle part of the offensive line is gonna mash some people this year. And I thought with 4th and 1, kicking the field goal, hey man, I think that's a spot where maybe you get a little more aggressive. But whatever, that one, I can live with really anything else in this game. But that game management gaffe, and of course DK saves them and gets them.
Yeah.
I guess really it ends up being a 4-point mistake, because without that they don't get the return from DK and the field goal after that. And DK, by the way, looked good.
Yep.
So it's a 4-point mistake, but really you just got lucked out. It's a touchdown mistake. You gave him a touchdown. It's insane in a game like that. The way that it's a 6-3 game, you congratulations, you have the lead at halftime. Why would you? It's
mind-boggling.
bothering me all over again.
It's mind-boggling.
That's coaching malpractice right there.
Let's head to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Adam in Portland to the program. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Dude, I've been saying for 5 months that Bo Nix was not what everybody was saying he was. And I feel really confident in saying that today. What I will say is I didn't know our coach was so dumb. And that's what I knew Daddy Callahan was overrated. I didn't know Baby Callahan was dumb. And I learned in week 1 last year that Will Levis could not be trusted. I learned in week 1 this year that Brian Callahan can't be trusted. So, I mean, at some point, Bones Fossil looked awesome. Fire this dude and promote that dude. Like, it seems easy, right? Like,
Bones Fossil, head coach, let's go.
This is the first time in I don't know how long that we have a competent special team because our coach doesn't look lost. Oh, my God, dude. And this coach does, man. You would not have given Peyton Manning the green light to start throwing a football in 40 seconds on the 5 against that defense. Idiot. Like, it's not even that play. It's a bunch of plays like that, dude. Like, just incompetent. I don't get it. These guys teed off on him the whole day. His awesome dad and all that money we spent, y'all couldn't figure out that we need to run the football, to do some type of I don't know. You've got to hand it off 3 times or just let Cam run the ball forward 3 times right there. Just, I don't know, dude. Yeah, it's going to piss me off again too, but I'm sitting here like, I was getting palpitations. I'm like, they wouldn't let Tom Brady throw the ball right here. Why are they letting this guy who's never thrown a ball in an NFL game throw the ball right here? So, yeah, he could be fired today, and I'd be totally cool with it.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. We got a lot of that today on the text line. Just go ahead and move on. Let's just go ahead and cut bait after week 1.
I can't keep up with the text line.
Text line's rolling in today. We appreciate it.
Nor the YouTube chat.
YouTube too.
By the way, shout out to Abel, who's like, wow, everybody said there's no way the Titans going to cover, and they cover, and still we're screaming about it all day.
I thought about that like this morning. I was like, I told Ian, I said, if you would have told me the score before the game, 20-12, I would have said, okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not good, but it's not terrible.
Exactly. That's the problem when everybody's like, well, what does Callahan need to do to save his job? Like, what's the number? I'm like, tell me what it looks like. Because if you just tell
that's a fireable performance yesterday.
Right. Yeah. Going in, no, that's not bad. Watching the game, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, there's the coaching decisions. And again, like, Denver's offense sucked yesterday. And yes, some of that has to do with the Titans. Some of that was Bo Nix just making ridiculous decisions. Like, I think he's awful.
He looked bad
yesterday. He's terrible.
Shout out to Adam, because he has been saying it, and I've been sort of in the middle on Nix. Like, I think you're good, but people calm down. Everybody, they're not winning the AFC West. They are not winning the AFC West. Maybe the Chargers are.
We'll see.
Tell you what, Justin Herbert, man,
he looked pretty good.
He did.
Let's head back to our 1025 The Game phone line. Welcome in Jared in Spring Hill to the program. Jared, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, fellas. But we knew all this, right? Like, we saw all this pan out last year.
I never saw Brian Callahan coach a game last year like he did yesterday, in my opinion. But I do not believe that at all. Yesterday was atrocious, but go ahead. Sorry.
But there's a bunch of lead-ups to this. Like, we know what this guy's capable of. And I called him a couple of weeks ago and was saying, hey, I don't think he's prepping enough for the Broncos. And now you can kind of see why I feel that way. I felt like the necessity to go to air with the idea, because this guy is a liability. And there was elements of it last year, and he's just doing it again with, half new players. And I feel like he's just got to be more accountable. If he's going to win over that locker room and want Jeffrey Simmons and all these other people to be accountable for mistakes, he's got to go up there and be the most accountable as a leader of the team. And guys, as Tony Romo says, I'm just frustrated and disappointed. Tighten up.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate it. We'll have a lot more on the Brian Callahan front coming up next. We will get into his explanation on the Alec Io Manor play. That was astounding yesterday. Coming up next as well. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Mondays were made for Macero. Big screens, bold flavors, and all the football action from queso to kickoffs. This is how Macero does game night. Macero Football Mondays in 12 South. Don't miss a snap. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. They lose 20-12 yesterday in Denver, and they dropped to 0-1 on the season. So we've talked about Callahan, the in-game management, and how that drive, particularly at the end of the half, just was mystifying in terms of some of the decision-making that he made. So the Elikayo Manor play yesterday where the elbow, I think, gets down in the field. It was pretty close to white line, but I thought it got down in the field. Let's just play the explanation that Brian Callahan gave in the post-game press conference yesterday as to why the Titans did not try to challenge and review that catch for Elikayo Manor. Here's what Brian Callahan had to say in the immediate aftermath of the game yesterday.
Is there a challenge on the aisle manner play where they moved out of bounds on the sideline? It looked like his elbow hit inbounds first.
Yeah, you got to get a foot inbounds too, which we didn't have a clean look at whether his foot was down as well. An elbow doesn't equal 2 feet, so his foot would have had to come down as well. We didn't have a clean look, so the call from upstairs was that it wasn't more challenging.
So that's what Brian Callahan had to say about that play after the game yesterday. And Joe, I watched the game. I turned on the YouTube press conference in my living room. And first off, it took Brian Callahan longer than normal to get there. So I was just sitting there.
It was
like
almost
waiting.
findable how long it took.
It took a while. And he finally got out there, and I heard him say that. And the first thing that went through my head was, oh, my God, did they change the rule? Like, how did I not know this? Like, it's always been, hey, one knee equals 2 feet, or elbow equals 2 feet, or butt cheek equals 2 feet if you get it in bounds on a catch. And I was like, oh, my God, the NFL, what are they doing? Why are they changing the rule here? Why are we making it more difficult to get a catch? So then I just started looking it up. I was like, I guess I need to find this. And I couldn't find it. I was like, well, everything I'm saying tells me that this is the same rule it's always been, and that you don't need to have another foot down when your elbow lands in bounds. And apparently the head coach of the Titans doesn't know that. Now I just continued to look, and finally Kuharski, among others, came out with the actual rule book and said that that's not correct, and that one elbow equals 2 feet, and that's a catch for the Tennessee Titans. So I guess my question to you, Joe, is what do you make of Callahan's answer there? And how concerning is it that apparently he doesn't know that rule in the aftermath of all this?
He's saying that, and I'm like, and that's the first thing I thought of. I actually thought of the Jonnu Smith touchdown at the Ravens in the playoff game where the butt, and so I'm like, oh, okay, so is it the upper? So if it's part of your upper body, then you need a foot too. I didn't know that. Huh. And NFL catch rules are go back to whatever year it was when Calvin Johnson had a winning touchdown in Chicago and signed the ball and gave it to a kid in the stands, but he didn't dot the I in Calvin, and so they said it was incomplete. Like, the NFL catch issues have been severe over the years. Okay,
they have.
But yeah, I was like, okay, he must know. Okay,
yeah, he's head coach of the NFL. He must know.
And actually, it's funny because you said you looked it up. So I did like the Google, which, now if you do something with Google, it's like it just goes to AI.
Yeah, you gotta be
and
real
AI
careful.
said what he said. I'm like, no kidding. And it's the same thing. Then then people start throwing the extra rule out. Kuharski actually does some work for once in his life and finds the extra rule. And I'm like, this is an NFL head coach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mind-numbing to me. And now, like, if you're on the team and you hear him say that, and it's like, oh, good, so the coach doesn't know the rule. Look, I saw some people talking about this. I think it was Herndon who said this yesterday, among others. Say whatever you want about Vrabel, all right? But he knew the rule book. Yeah, he knew the rule book really well. And I heard that answer from Callahan yesterday, and it was just like, oh, my God. Like, he didn't know the rule. And I'm reading through Kuharski's piece right now, and I agree. Like, I'll read a couple graphs from Kuharski's piece. Quote, Will he acknowledge this with the team? He's going to be asked about it on Monday by us. He has no choice but to admit he blew it, talking about the rule and not knowing what the rule was there. I am unbelievably fascinated to see what his answer to this today is going to be.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because I will say beyond the other stuff, like we referred to, I really don't think he ever had like defensive moments last year the way he did yesterday. And usually when that happens, a coach is feeling it, right? Feeling the heat. But I mean, this is the first game. Like he first of all the things he messed up yesterday, another thing is you go to that presser yesterday and you fall on the sword. You absolutely fall on the sword. You say, hey, man, I got to be better than this. And you need to, I mean, getting snippy about, did you know the play calls? I don't care what the play calls were. You're at your 5 with the lead, and there's zero reason with your pass protection, with their defense, with all, like, let me list out 10 things. There's zero reason to do what you did, and he decided to get defensive about it after the game. So I'll be interested today to see, because he should start his presser and say, look, I screwed that up. Yeah. And that's on me. I mean, like, Amy Adams-Strunk knows it's on you already, man. Like, it's better to admit it and take the accountability than it is to start getting defensive. Coaches get defensive like that. Usually it means the end is not that far away. And I'm not saying that's going to happen in season, but
it's feeling it.
Yeah.
Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in Kenny, the mailman, to the program. Kenny, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hello, good friends. Got a quick question for you. Through the years, I don't think I've been one that will call in and rant and rave and just be out of control calling for firing. Would y'all agree with that?
I would totally agree.
Yes.
Well, I was ranting and raving and calling for firings last night. And here it is. Coach Callahan seems like a very nice man that speaks well and knows how to carry himself, but he also seems like a person that got a job 6 years too early because of his name, and he's unqualified because the number one thing, if you don't know the rules, then you make a decision like right before halftime. But then remember this. They almost steal a game by recovering a fumble on a punt. And, yeah, we all wanted a touchdown. But if you just quit hitting running plays and stay in field goal range, you have a chance to steal a game. Their tackle goes out of the game, and they say, hey, let's call some long play action passes and get 2 long sacks and get out of field goal range. And you just shake your head because you're going to see decisions like that over and over from a coach that's not qualified to be there, and frankly, an owner that's picked him that isn't qualified to be an owner. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Kenny. Appreciate it. Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in Kenston to the program. Kenston, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
I won't say too much of what's already been said, but looking at this man and going back,
I think we lost Kenston there. We'll try to get Kenston back.
Did they catch you? Kenston.
Kenston.
Got me?
Hey, you back.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
All right, yeah. Just saying that, not going to spend too much time talking about what's already been said, but the Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan administration, from moving on from Vrabel to every time I turn on Baltimore, still see Derrick Henry killing it, and then yesterday's fiasco that everybody's talking about. It's just this guy's in over his head. I want to see what happens, but as somebody said on Twitter yesterday, John Gruden, wherever you at, don't get too comfortable. Next year, you're a Tennessee Titan. Thanks, guys.
You're a Titan, and you're a Titan. John Gruden will not be back in the NFL, my friend. He'll be in the college game somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about Alabama last week. Maybe the groomers can start back in the
I mean, in all seriousness, John Gruden will be a college head coach. He's not going to be an NFL head coach.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, look,
that'd be funny though.
Yesterday, I look at it, and there's still 16 games left this year. They could come out against the Rams next week and look really good. It's hard for me to buy, Joe, that he's just going to turn this around at some point this year. And I'm not trying to overreact to week one. I said at the end of last year that go ahead and fire him and restart this clock. They didn't do that, so I'm giving an open mind to what it's going to look like throughout the year, and I still believe the most important part of all this is Cam Ward. However, you can't just be totally incompetent everywhere else and then keep your job because Cam Ward makes progress this year, right? Like yesterday was a huge red flag on the Brian Callahan part. And now his charge is to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again throughout the course of this year. But yesterday, like, it was not good on the Brian Callahan front. And it's hard to have confidence after watching something like that. Like, at some point, you are what your body of work tells you that you are. And right now, he is 3-15 as a head coach. And far too often throughout that entire process, and we can talk about roster, and we can talk about quarterback play, far too often they have looked like an unbelievably poorly coached football team. And they did again yesterday.
Yeah, and to Kenny's point, a couple of things. Excuse me. Oh, my gosh. Sorry, it's this hazelnut in the coffee. I need some vanilla. A couple things that Kenny brought up there. This job 6 years to it. That's an interesting point. And I know, and I get it. Like, obviously his dad and everything. I mean, look, but when it comes down to it, I mean, he was older than some of these McVay tree people getting coaching jobs, and some of them have worked out great. Somebody texted, I can't keep up with the text, but somebody texted, of course, we get the McVay tree guy who's not good, typical Titans. But honestly, like Callahan getting this job, this is not some, let's remember, this was not some out of left field hire. This was so I get what Kenny's saying, but actually, like, the play calling head coach coming from a successful team as the OC with the head coach calling plays, it was like on paper, it made sense. And I do agree. I think the before half thing was by far the worst, but man, that sequence, those two plays, when you get that break, and I think the first one is on Cam Ward. Like, you can't take that sack. But the second, like, try to get 4 yards running the ball.
Yeah.
I saw nothing easy access for him. And so you just, that was atrocious too. But to your point, it's just, I think that was the worst coach game of his career. And then he compounds it with trying to explain it very poorly, not knowing the rules. And I really didn't think, because I'm all for the whole idea of Cam Ward, you got to, and Cam Ward, and if you're going to develop him, and you have to have that continuity and all that stuff. But this has really put that in one game, has put that in doubt.
Well, I said it in the offseason. Callahan, if things went poorly, was going to be the first one to get blamed. I did not anticipate something like yesterday.
He earned it.
Like he
earned this one.
And I guess my point was basically whether it's his fault or not. If the results don't come, year two as the head coach, guess who they ain't blaming? They ain't blaming the quarterback. They're going to be blaming you. And that was kind of my general point. I think that stands moving forward. But I mean, yesterday you made it pretty easy to blame you, right? Like, it's pretty easy now to look at it and say, well, I mean, if anything goes wrong with this team now, it's just like, well, it's this guy. We got to get him out.
Yeah. You had a terrible day. And again, the offense is your baby, and that's what let everybody down. Not to mention your game management and your inability to know the rules of this game, for which you get paid a tremendous amount of money to coach.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We will continue to get into the Brian Callahan part of this. What do we make of Cam Ward and his NFL debut? We'll get into that coming up next as well. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Kim, how did you manage your speed left there in the pocket in the first NFL game, considering the rushes that they brought much of the game?
Felt good, honestly. I felt alive again, just finally being alive, knowing that it's not a preseason game, it's a real football game. But I mean, the rush that you get, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's something that you wouldn't want to trade for the world. So I'm blessed to be in this position. I'm blessed to have guys around me who believe in me, and we just really trying to get better. So we just got to continue to take it 1 week at a time. But I mean, it felt good to get out there.
That's Cam Ward after the game yesterday. Titans fall 20-12 against the Denver Broncos. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Appreciate thoughts. Text line is popping today, as is the YouTube chat. So keep them coming.
Let me know since my computer just crashed. You guys crashed my computer. You're so mad.
Is our phone number. I do want to read this text from Trevor. Callahan should have spent the offseason studying the rule book instead of coordinating sack races and playing Pictionary. I knew we were going to get that at some point today.
This is a low T alert.
Okay, guys.
Titans on full display yesterday.
Pin the tail on the Jaguar.
Anybody got a Frisbee? Let's get out there and play.
Oh, God. And this whole sin. Why do coaches do this stuff? Sins. Whatever. What is it? Self-inflicted negatives.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Just brutal. What did you make of Cam Ward in his debut yesterday? The numbers are not good. I mean, he went 12 of 28, which is not what you're looking for 112 yards. Now, he did not throw a pick, and I think his quarterback rating was 54.5. I thought there were times that he did a really good job of keeping himself out of trouble in the game. I mean, the first drive, he made an unbelievable play. Like, he was moving up in the pocket, looked like he was going to take off up the middle, and then dumped it off to Pollard on the play, which was a 29-yarder, which coincidentally, I believe was their longest play of the game by a significant margin. But who knew at that time that that's what it was going to be? Overall, what did you make of Ward in his NFL debut?
The thing about Cam Ward that is very clear is he has a poise and a calm about him. We've talked some about this, but I think you definitely saw it yesterday. He's he's a gamer to be totally cliche, but like I really like his demeanor, and I liked his. I mean, look, he was getting after people. There was a play, I don't remember which receiver it was. It might have been DK, but it was like, man versus zone. You keep running your route or you sit down in zone. He got right after him and said, "You got to cut that in." You know, it seems to me like he really has a good command of the offense. It seemed like he changed some protections successfully before the snap. And I really like his calm, and I like his talent. There was another play where, like you said, the play you said was very good. There was a play where he just, went back. It's like, what are you doing? But he got himself that room and then made a big throw. That was probably their second biggest play of the day to who I forget. So, like, I would say that's an encouraging start amid a lot of bad stuff for the offense from him. But like you said, some of those sacks are on him. Like, there's some rookie stuff. Some of those sacks are on him, when they get into field goal range. But then it also, like, it was such a bad coaching day. It's like I'm hesitant. Like last year, we kind of concluded, well, with Levis doing some of this stuff, it's really on Levis. I think Nick Wright tweeted yesterday, like, that game management from Callahan at the end of the half was worse than anything Levis did last year. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's like, I also like considering the brutal offensive coaching game that the Titans just had. I feel, I guess, better about Cam Ward in a way, because it's like, man, like, are they helping this kid enough? And of course, that question, if it prevails, if it persists, that's really going to expedite Callahan getting out of here. I don't know why you asked me about Cam Ward and I keep talking about Brian Callahan, but
it's hard to separate.
It's hard to, it's hard to get away from that the day after that performance.
Yeah,
but I like him. I still think it's like, it's like the accuracy. There were some drops. There were also a couple of them were like, whoo, that's coming in about 110 miles an hour, and you didn't necessarily need to throw it like that. Ridley had a couple, though, that you have to have.
Yeah, Ridley was not good yesterday. He ended up, 4 catches for 27 yards. Hey, look, he got matched up against Surtain a lot, and you knew that probably wasn't going to go well.
And when he was matched up on Surtain, the numbers tell us that he did zero. He just was erased from the game.
Oh, and that's what that guy does. That's what Surtain does. So we knew that if Ridley got up against him, who else was going to step up and make some plays? Gunnar Helm had the one play. I think he had 16 yards. He had the other play that looked like a catch, and then I guess Sean Payton challenged it, and then that got overturned. There are so many challenges in the game that I couldn't keep up at one point.
And then there was one that should have been challenged.
There was one that should have been challenged that wasn't. So you got that. Like Lockett didn't do anything. He had one target on the day. So
I think one thing we did learn yesterday is Aya Manor he's a starter, and he is going to play. And he had targets for him yesterday. He had ups and downs overall. You can see it with him.
Yeah, he ends up with 2 catches for 13 yards on 7 targets. Now, probably should have had another catch. Tossed in there, too. So I have to keep that in mind. But
you got to have, 4 feet, tap them twice. And then also you have to do a head spin on the grass, and then you're in.
Crawl off the field with the ball in possession, apparently.
Do the worm.
I mean, overall, it's a bad day for the offense. Again, the numbers for Cam Ward are not good. I think if you watch the game, I think some of the decision-making that he had was good with the football in terms of keeping it out of trouble. I thought that was good. I think clearly a couple at least, and maybe 3 of the 6 sacks were on him. Like he's got to know that he doesn't have all that much time. You can't just keep drifting back in the pocket, and he got smoked on a couple plays. But again, I read off the numbers earlier. 6 sacks, 12 quarterback hits for the Denver Broncos yesterday. So again, we're right back in discussion of, all right, I understand it's Denver's front. We talked about that heading into the game. It's one of the elite units, one of the elite defensive fronts in all of football, but not very good pass protection yesterday for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, and obviously you lose Latham, and it gets real ugly over on that side, and the lack of tackle depth is glaring. Again, the Titans are far from alone in that boat. That's a big loss. But, yeah, Dan Moore – I don't think we're going to be talking about Dan Moore the way we talked about his 2 most recent predecessors. Okay.
I would agree.
He's better than them. But again, being better than them is really nothing to write home about. And it was pretty disappointing to me. Just at times he looked just
overwhelmed,
slow footed.
Yeah. He looked overwhelmed out there. Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in our buddy Mark in Nashville to the program. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning. Not a good morning for y'all, though, is it?
I mean,
I have a feeling this may be a constant theme this year.
I like reading text messages, so it's a hell of a great morning for us.
It is. That's true.
Yeah. Joe, you may be right on your point when you made this may be beginning of the end for Callahan. Y'all have heard me say several times, I'd like to see Callahan stay here. I'm trying to stay a fan of this guy, Joe, but he keeps letting me down. He keeps showing the inexperience, the lack of play calling experience when he was with the Bengals. Still wondering, when he's going to rise up and come around and do that. I don't think that's going to happen for him. Yesterday may be a defining moment for him, man. It may be he is who he is, and he may end up getting out of here. I mean, like y'all said, the offensive line let him down. Denver's got a big time front. I told y'all that. Big time defense. I still think they're a year away with Bo Nix at quarterback, but man, they have got a team and a defense over there. But yeah, look, I'm gonna give the Titans credit. Big Jeff and them played a heck of a game, Joe. I mean, they kept them in the game as much as they could. Denver struggled on offense a little bit too. So I mean, but you can't keep that defense coming out there on the field. They're gonna get tired, wore down, and frustrated. Hence, you're gonna lose games like that and stuff. Callahan's going to have to find some offense out of Cam. Cam struggled, and Ridley had some plays he should have been catching the ball, Joe, like you said, and it really killed him that they should have put points on the board down there on Denver's end on that muff punt.
Yeah,
and at least got a field goal or something out of it. Might have changed the momentum. You never know. But hey, y'all have a good day. Hey, Robby, your Green Bay Packers look good, man.
They did.
I mean, they look awfully good, man. I may have to change my Super Bowl pick. I had Tampa in there. We struggled against Atlanta yesterday, But Joe, Robbie, y'all watch out for my Raiders now.
There
They're
we go.
gonna be good too, man. Hey, y'all have a good day, man.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate
Too,
it.
Mark.
We got a lot more thoughts to get into on the Titans front. We will continue the discussion all show long on Brian Callahan and his debacle of a coaching job yesterday. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Titans fall 20-12 in Denver yesterday. We will have Corey Curtis from News 2 coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on everything he saw from the Tennessee Titans yesterday. Joe, I do want to read this text from Keith. Brian Callahan did a great job yesterday of uniting the fan base on the idea that we should get rid of him. This is as united as I have seen Titans fans on the Callahan front. There's no doubt.
I mean, this is his worst day. I don't think.
Which, by the way, again, is saying something. They were 3-14 last year.
They were. I'm trying to think of last year. Like there was they weren't gonna go, and everybody boos and they go, and obviously there was some terrible overall. So it was an overall product thing for sure. But we all know they were bad. They were a terrible team.
Yeah.
Were their coaches who would have got more to last year's team? Sure. But it wasn't like, to me, it wasn't, oh my God, this guy has no clue type of year. And we'd put a lot on Levis, and I'm not putting less on Levis after yesterday from last year. No. I really don't have a different thought on last year. Yeah. But yeah, the fan base has been, there's a big range, and this happens a lot, right? Especially early in a coaching tenure or early in a QB tenure. The Mariota screaming lasted for years, right? But I'm with you. I'm seeing texts from people who are like, well, I really liked Brian, or I really support him, and I can't. It's hard to. And again, I'm not sitting here saying yesterday guarantees that's what it's going to be the rest of the year. But boy, he needs a good day. He needs a day like. Well, I hesitate to bring up Vrabel, who, by the way, had a rough day himself yesterday. Might not have a very good quarterback. Yeah, but. He needs a day like Vrabel had against the Texans his first year, where it's like, whoa, what a great coaching performance. I mean, I can't remember. I guess you could say maybe the win at Houston last year. Would that be one where you're like, man, that's a hell. I mean, they looked good. They cut them up, went up and down the field on them. That's his department, right? Yeah. But, I mean, yesterday is one of those days that definitely damages you with the fan base. And then my question is, what does it do to you with your owner?
Well, yesterday, it's one of those, it's like the worst possible start for Brian Callahan. That's what it is. Not only did you lose a winnable game that I would agree with callers who say your defense, I think, look, their defense was better than I thought they'd be yesterday. Some of that I think was self-inflicted by Denver, but some of that was like, I thought Jeffrey Simmons, penalties aside, was pretty good. He was disruptive. Titans secondary was good. I mean, we didn't brought up L'Jarius Sneed yesterday, who played, I believe, 26% of the snaps on defense.
And by the way, if your pitch count is 20-25, why are you burning it right away?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we're going to get all of his snaps out of the way in the first half.
So then when someone gets hurt later, it's like, nope, he can't go in. Marcus Harris, you go in. Maybe save a few pitches.
Well, and again, Sneed keeps acting like he's like, yeah, I mean, this is a coaching decision, and I'm ready to go. So I don't know about all that. You know, we've talked about Sneed a lot, and I'll talk about it more when he can play more than 50% of the snaps in the game. I mean, it is what it is at this point. But like yesterday, you had a game that did not appear to be winnable on paper, turn out to be winnable throughout the midst of it because of how bad Bo Nix and that Denver offense was. And you just handed it right back to him. It's like, no, you take it. We didn't want it. We don't want this game. And some of it is directly related to your coach. And that's both from a play calling standpoint, from a game management standpoint, and from apparently not knowing the rules, which is probably going to be the biggest sticking point of all this when it comes to tight. Like, look, sometimes coaches make stupid decisions. Now, I wouldn't make a habit out of making some of the ones that he made yesterday, particularly right before the half. That's a good way to get fired at some point. But coaches make some stupid decisions every now and then. The not knowing the rule part of it is a big problem. Like, that's a big issue, and that's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I still think the worst part of the whole thing was the game management at the end of the first half, but the not knowing the rule thing, that's going to follow him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you know.
Well, and that's also the type of thing that in your own locker room, it's like, wait a minute. You want us to pay attention to all this and like have attention to detail, and you're preaching accountability and all these things during the offseason. You're playing all these games, and we've had our fun with that. And you don't know the rule? Like, you guys didn't challenge something because you didn't know the rule? why in the world would I listen to you? Like, I just think that can be very damaging for him.
We've talked about it many times. Like, when it comes down to it, these are all professionals, and people talk about playing for a coach or whatever. It's like players want to believe their coach is smart and gives them an edge and can help them win. And that is a type of day where you lose confidence the players lose confidence in you because of how bad you were at your job.
Well, and you can't be a negative as a coach, right? Like, you can't negatively affect the outcome of the game. Like, it's one thing to look at it and be like, well, game plan wasn't good enough, or play calling in a certain situation wasn't good enough. But like, some of your decision making to directly influence the outcome of the game in a negative way, like, especially if you're a team like the Titans that just doesn't have the talent right now, your coach can't help out the other team. The other team doesn't need help for the most part with the Titans. You can't be just gift wrapping stuff to other teams as a coach. And that's what they did yesterday.
No doubt. Liam McLeod says, what are the positives from Callahan? Seems like a nice guy, isn't doing it for me. Well, I mean, look, after yesterday, it's hard to sit here and say, this guy knows offense, this guy knows quarterback development, et cetera, et cetera. But to me, the rebound from this, one, maybe winning a football game or two here or there.
No.
Scoring a touchdown this year.
That also helped.
Would be good at some point.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams are not the ideal next opponent.
They are not.
The Titans. If you saw what they did yesterday to the Texans. But, it is about Cam Ward still, to me. And so, Cam Ward's already like campaigning for him like before his rookie year. And when it really comes down to it, the argument is going to go back to the continuity for the rookie QB and all this stuff. But if it's like yesterday, if that's going to continue, then okay, it's early. Wow. And it's early, and here you go. And they should have fired him when they fired Rand. That's what it'll end up going to.
And again, it's one game into the season, so there's some runway here that he's going to have to try to rebound. But I've said this before, and I'm gonna say it till I'm blue in the face. Continuity, just for the sake of continuity, is just as stupid as firing people all the time. Like, you got to show something as a head coach. And look, they hired him, yes, to work with Levis originally and to develop a quarterback, and now he's been charged with developing Cam Ward, and that's a huge part of his job. But they've also he is the play calling head coach, and it is his job to elevate that offense. And there's been no signs of that to this point. And, we can get back into whether, he didn't call plays in Cincinnati, and that's fine, whatever. Like, there have been coaches that haven't called plays or don't have extensive experience calling plays in actual NFL games that become head coaches. Like Matt LaFleur called plays for 1 year here before he was a head coach in Green Bay. It's worked out pretty well. Kevin O'Connell wasn't calling plays for LA with Sean McVay. It's worked out pretty well. Yep. So you can find examples of that in the NFL, but the bottom line is, for whatever reason, whether you want to totally blame the roster or the offensive line or the quarterback or whatever, Brian Callahan as a play caller has not gone well to this point. I didn't think it was some huge problem last year, but it wasn't an elevator, and you brought him in to be an elevator, and there's not been a sign of that to this point.
Right. So the argument for him, of course, is Cam Ward, however that looks. But another argument for him, of course, is the huge, score the Titans got after hiring him and getting Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
And another terrible day for the offensive line.
It is
the bottom line is it was not a good day. It was a good day at times running the football. There were some clean pockets in there, but it didn't look all that much different when you talk about 6 sacks and 12 quarterback hits. And like you said, put some on the rookie. But even when it's on the rookie, there's some sort of a gap in the protection that causes him to run into something or make a mistake. Yep. It's just so, I'm not sitting here ready to, throw Bill Callahan's entire career as an offensive line coach out like some people might want to, but you wanted to see more yesterday.
He did. And even the run game, they had some moments where it looked okay, but they end up with 21 carries for 71 yards, 3.4 carry. I mean, it's not very good. It's not a good number. I mean, their long was a 9-yard run by Chim DK. Like it's not very good in the running game yesterday. And some of that is also like when the defense is not scared at all of you being able to draw back and throw the ball, it's going to affect the running game too. So there's a lot of work offensively to do. Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in James to the program. James, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Doing good. Good.
And I'm going through it this week. I'm a Florida fan, so I've dealt with bad coaching.
Condolences.
I know what that's like. No, the question is, Cam Ward, if we were to go ahead and get rid of Callahan, you say mid-season or late in the season, what would that do to Ward's development? And would it benefit him if we got a new coach to go ahead in there and start working with him, or you think it would hurt him more? I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks. Well, here's what I would say. We're still, I think, a ways away from that situation. If it happens at some point and they fire him mid-season, I don't think you're hiring his eventual replacement in the immediate aftermath of that. You're naming an interim head coach.
Hey, Adam's already got Bones Fossil head
coach
coaching this team, so
Bones. I mean, you're still not hiring the coach until the season's over.
Although Bones Fossil did run up and tell Callahan to kick that field goal.
Yeah, I saw
at the end. He's like running up to the sideline.
3,
kick it.
Yeah,
and he went out there and kicked it.
Who's really running this team?
I don't know if I'd claim it if I was. Right now.
Not me.
Not me. Not in charge. Let the record show it is not me. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll continue the discussion on Callahan. Boy, we have a lot of your thoughts to get to. Keep them coming. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Could have been avoided. Cody had wrapped up. It's just dumb. No excuses for that. I take full accountability to that. And even with all the freaking penalties we had, we still was in this game. We had a chance. But, I mean, you have, over 150, I think it was like 150 in penalties? 130. 130, that's terrible. And, you'll never win a game like that, especially on the road. That's a good football team. But at the end of the day, man, we have to clean that up. Like I said, that's the most disappointing thing, especially coming out of this game, was the penalties.
That's Jeffrey Simmons after the game yesterday. 13 penalties for the Tennessee Titans, 131 yards and penalty yards yesterday. So they had 133 yards of total offense and 131 penalty yards for the Titans yesterday. Not quite what you
They
looking for.
won. They won.
Not quite.
They
what
won
you
the
looking
sack
for there.
race.
They did. They did. Taking your thoughts on Brian Callahan and the Titans. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. And again, we've talked about the in-game decisions, the post-game explanation of not understanding the rule. And then there's also the fact they didn't score a touchdown yesterday, which, again, I feel like we're just glossing over days. Like, they didn't score a touchdown, whatever. It's just it's another a 12-point outing, not putting together a touchdown in an NFL game. Like, I get it. It's on the road. It's a rookie quarterback. It's a really good defense. You ought to be able to score a touchdown in an NFL game. Like, you should find your way into the end zone at least once in an NFL football game. And here we are again, and they did not do so yesterday.
The Baltimore Ravens fans, hopefully you can take Titans fans a little bit of pleasure in their misery today after they blew that game last night. Although Derrick Henry fumbled, so, but like, wouldn't you love to lose a game 41-40? Wouldn't you love to lose a game like that at some point?
Yeah.
Or at least your team scores some touchdowns.
That's where we are.
Like, it's like the bad and boring combination. Like, how much more can people take of this?
Yeah, it was brutal to watch yesterday. It was. And again, the offensive line, you revamp this thing. It's one game, but they look like they got overwhelmed. And I don't think it was like, it's not revolving door Andre Dillard bad over there, right? And then I know Latham went down for some of it too, so that's certainly a factor. But it's, again, a situation where far too often you snap the ball and pretty much immediately your quarterback is under duress. And I can't do another season of that. Like, I cannot do another season of just watching the quarterback every time he drops back to pass have the one on the back of his jersey implanted in the ground because he's getting hit so hard immediately.
Well,
yeah, I know. I just
buckle up.
It's just
Buttercup.
It's crazy, like that we're continuing to have this discussion. And again, like, it goes back to the continuity conversation. It's Brian Callahan's job to come up with another reason other than just continuity to keep his job this year. Like, we got to do it. Like, you got to show us something at some point. And I don't know if he's capable. I don't know what that's going to look like. And I don't know how much patience there is. Like, we've gotten all over Amy Adams Strunk the last couple of years for not having patience, right? And I think deservedly so, because she's made some crazy decisions at times. But, I mean, if it's going to be like it was yesterday, like, you'd almost be crazy to keep him at that point. Like, yesterday was so bad on the Brian Callahan front. And after an offseason where he talked about holding people accountable and changing up the formula a little bit and doing all these games and team competitions and all that stuff that we talked a lot about, to come out and just to completely lay an egg as a coach in your first game. I keep going back to the locker room in this situation of, like, if you're in that locker room, particularly if you've been here in each of the last 2 years, like if you're Jeff Simmons sitting in there right now, or you're Roger McCreary sitting in there right there, or Skoronski, whoever, like, do you not reach a point here pretty quickly where it's like, man, this guy just doesn't know what he's doing? And if you reach that point, I don't know how you recover from that as a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot we don't see, obviously, and a lot of this is it's also interaction. Like, do you like working for the guy? Again, like, we get a little bit too into they're playing for their coach or they're not playing, but these are professionals. Is it a good work environment? Vrabel, again, I'm sorry, bringing up Vrabel, but Vrabel did have a very good balance of getting after people, but also like, yeah, man, go take care of your family. So I don't know the answer to that. I know that Callahan's a very likable guy in general. That's a big part of it, though. But when it comes down to it, that only goes so far. And if you're a player in that locker room, you're like we on a weekly basis, we are getting out coached. Like our coach is not giving us any kind of advantage, and in fact, it's a disadvantage. If that's what the majority of the locker room or a growing portion of the locker room starts to believe, then yeah, you're toast. And after yesterday, yeah, I would think there'd be a little bit of lost confidence from some guys who maybe had a different feeling before it happened. I mean, like, do you think they're not all going to be talking about how he didn't know the rules? I mean, Amani Hooker was over there telling the ref, hey,
his elbow's down.
Elbow. That's a catch. And then if he hears Callahan say that afterward, like, really, dude?
Yeah,
that's NFL head coach.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're in that locker room and you start to come to the conclusion that not only is your coach not really helping you all that much, but he's like actively hurting you, like he's actively a negative influencing the outcome of your games. Like that's, to me, you got to pull a plug at that point. Like that's a horrible spot to be. And I just don't know how you recover from that. And look, I don't know that he's there. Like, it was a bad day yesterday. Maybe it's as simple as that. And it was just a bad day. I'm trying to hold on. I am. Like, I'm trying to not totally freak out after 1 week here. But man, is he making it hard today. It was that bad yesterday.
Yeah. Well, if this was the first game of his tenure, first of all, there'd be a little bit like, well, he's a rookie coach.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
But it would still also be like, whoa, have they completely screwed this up? He does have a season of like not offensively horrible coaching. I'm trying, but I mean, there were some good things, right? Yeah. Last year. He needs this weekend. He needs, oh my God, what a great coaching game. And they upset the Rams.
Yeah.
He needs that fast. Because I do think that a lot of fans have been saying this, and I agree. Like, and ultimately, when it comes down to it, we can all scream. Fans can all scream. What matters is what Amy Adams Strunk thinks. But he lost some fans yesterday, and I get it.
And again, like I would assume that not just Amy Adams Strunk, but I would assume, given the power structure that they got right now, Brinker and Borgonzi are going to have a big say at the end of this season as to whether or not he's still here. And like, if you're Borgonzi and you hear him get up there yesterday and he talked about and he just doesn't know the rule, like, what are you thinking today? Like, I'd be thinking, oh God,
no,
really?
Absolutely. It has to be a red flag. I mean, it's not like it's some obscure like kickoff rule. Like it's an offensive rule for an offensive coach. Like it's like you have to be in that job ready like this to decide to challenge a play or not.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, he didn't have the foot down. What?
I honestly had never heard of that. Never, ever. I was just like, well, I guess I'm just some idiot because I've never heard of this.
You have to do the cha-cha on the sideline.
I assumed that the coach was right? Like,
yeah,
when he said it, I was like, oh, well, did they change this, or have I just been some moron this whole time that didn't know this? But it turns out that he's wrong, which is just Caleb says on the text line, I would agree. I don't know that we can talk about that enough today. Like that is how egregious that is. And is that the reason they lost the game yesterday? No. But that's a big symptom of what appears to be a big problem for them right now.
And I'd like
to coach.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad. And I would also like to play out the game if he doesn't commit utter coaching malpractice at the end of the first half.
Again,
I'd like to see what it is. If it's 6-3, there's no momentum, there's no nothing. It's just 6-3 Titans.
Yeah.
And you take it into halftime like you should have.
It felt like he was picking his wrong spots to be aggressive and not be aggressive.
I totally agree.
It was like he was going oppo, right? Being aggressive, backed up. And then after
Costanza.
you go Bizarro. Yeah. And then after the turnover, you get the ball and you go 1, 2, 3 straight runs, and it leads to a, like a field goal attempt at one point. It's a sudden change. You're in scoring position. Like, take a shot at some point. It was just confusing as when they wanted to be aggressive and when they weren't wanting to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And it seemed confusing to me.
No, I totally agree. And again, like, it just gets back to, I can't escape like, if you're in the locker room, if you're Calvin Ridley today, who, by the way, I mean, got his own problems, catch the freaking football when it's thrown your way. But if you're like Ridley today, or you're McCreary, or you're Simmons, or you're whoever, and you hear him get up there and say that yesterday, like, how do you, I don't want to be too dramatic here, but like, how do you show up to work and look at him and be like, that's our guy. That's my coach playing for that guy today. Like, it's so egregious. So egregious. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. We got a lot more coming. Corey Curtis will be with us at 8 o'clock. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up here in just a few minutes at 7:45. Corey Curtis at 8 o'clock. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025, our phone number. Joe, I did think there was one positive that was pretty clear yesterday in the Titans game. Special teams looked pretty good. Jim Dike, 71-yard kick return out there. I don't know if I'm going to be kind enough to say they forced a turnover, but they did. They were the beneficiary of a turnover when the Marvin Mims just muffed the punt out there yesterday. So you got a turnover for you yesterday for the special teams. 71-yard kick return. You know, Joey Sly got out there and made 4 field goals. Johnny Hecker with an average of 49.4 on his punts yesterday, 2 inside the 20. So overall, I mean, especially considering last year, that's a heck of a day for the special teams for the Titans.
Well, let's go through those positives. You know, special teams.
About where I stopped.
I'll give another one. I thought Jeff Simmons was dominant at times and looked really good and looked exactly like he is going to be a problem for people this year. I think more than he's been in a while now.
As long as he can stop hitting people after the whistle.
Then you have the stupid penalty at the end, you know. But as a player, I thought there was some stuff to like there for sure.
I agree.
I think the running game, like you said, it ends up not being a good number, but I think in a fair amount of games this year, I think they're going to be able to run the ball at a decent clip. So I think, you know, a lot of the defense on the schedule, they're going to be able to run the ball and, you know, get some play action off that. And I think maybe score some touchdowns this year. I think that is possible. And then Cam Ward. I mean, to me, Cam Ward was a positive yesterday. It'll be a very forgettable. I guess if you're a Titans fan, and some people have said this, it's like, I just don't want him to have some crazy 4-touchdown day because we know that it'll be a total failure. There you go. 12 for 28, 112 yards, a 54.5 rating. And I'm saying it was a positive. I like Cam Ward. I'm not predicting greatness. I still would have taken that deal from the Giants. But I like him. And I think he's a keeper. And, I mean, you're along for the ride anyway. The Callahan stuff and the disruption of all that stuff is going to be talked about all year long, or as long as it needs to be talked about until something happens or doesn't happen or whatever. But Cam Ward right now, I like him.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was fine yesterday. The positives short for the Titans. Here's another thing I was looking at yesterday.
Yeah, got a few seconds in of positives.
Yeah, that's about all we're going to get today, I think. You got the Rams next week. You know, we went through the schedule last week, and I think I had them starting 1-10. And I had a Titans fan, a buddy, text me and like, "You're such a hater." I was like, I'm just telling you what I think. And I think the one win I gave them was the Colts at home. And what they do yesterday, Colts just came out and smacked Miami.
Danny
just smacked them.
Danny Dimes.
He looked great yesterday. It's like, oh boy.
Miami might go 0-17 though.
They're pretty bad.
There's a coach who will get fired before Brian Callahan.
Could be. And it's like, you know, it's week 1. You don't want to overreact to anything week 1, but Indy looked good yesterday. The Rams, particularly on defense, looked good yesterday. You know, on September the 28th, you're going to Houston. Arizona won yesterday. Like the Raiders, they beat Vrabel and the Patriots. You got them coming up in week 6.
You might get Vrabel this year.
Like you're looking at the schedule now, and it's like, God, are they going to be like 0-6 by the time the Patriots game comes around? Again, it's week 1. Don't want to overreact to week 1, but I think that might be on the table.
It's on the table. It is on the table. But yeah, that's the one thing. Like if Vrabel, if it turns down to, you know, Vrabel is a referendum on Brian Callahan, he might actually have a chance. I watched the Patriots yesterday. Boy, not a very good season incoming for Mike Vrabel, I don't think, unless week 1 is totally lying.
Yeah. I mean, it's just Titans fans, I'm sorry. I am. Like, this is a Monday. I showed up this morning. I walked through the door at the station, and I said, well, here we are again. We're back. We're back at Titans football season, and it feels so much like it's felt for the last couple years, where you're just talking about inept offense, an offensive line that's getting your quarterback killed all the time out there. And now, oh, by the way, you can sprinkle in some just totally incompetent coaching on top of it as well. Great stuff.
Yeah, for the whole offseason, for the first game, to go like that. I mean, that's got to be up there as a disappointing opener.
Which again is the amazing part again is because the score. If you'd have told me
Denver-
they covered,
Yeah,
they covered,
baby.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much.
By the way, what a day for Ian yesterday. Covered, had the Titans cover, and then just
and the
as
Bills
backdoor as it gets from the Bills.
But I also picked the Dolphins, so I mean that was
you picked against the Jags and the Colts, and they both looked awesome, man.
Yeah, they did.
But how did you get that cover? That makes me mad.
Yeah,
that actually makes me. I gotta find this tweet. I hate when I say that, and then it's going to take me 5 minutes.
Denver,
keep talking.
For Denver to just practically give you the game, in these week 1 matchups where the favored team looks rusty and all that kind of stuff.
Awful.
They look terrible, and for the Titans to look worse, that's not good.
No.
I found the tweet. I got to give a shout out to Mike Herndon, friend of the show. He said, sure, he called a horrific game offensively. His team committed 131 yards worth of penalties, and he outed himself as not understanding NFL rules. But congrats to Brian Callahan for covering the spread for the 3rd time in his 18 games as head coach. That's a great tweet. 3-15.
And he only did that because Peyton, for some reason, tried to go for it at the end and on that 4th down.
Yeah, I think he just kicked that.
And so
I get it, though. You get that random blocked kick. But yeah, I would have kicked.
Well, and they're also their reach is a point. Anyway, I think we may be getting close. Where you look at it and you just say, "Is this guy just is what he is?" I'm waiting for that breakthrough. Not even performance. I'm waiting for that breakthrough, 2-3 week stretch with the Titans, where it's like, all right, they look like a competent football team, and we know that they don't have the greatest talent out there, so maybe the wins aren't coming at maybe don't win 3 in a row or something like that, but they're playing good football. They're not committing all these penalties. They're not making the same mistakes over and over and over again. They look like a well-coached football team. And the more they play, the more I just have to resign myself to the fact that maybe that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and if the overall product remains this bad, then you just at some point it's like, well, it's year 1 for the rookie QB, and you hate to do this, and so you should have done something before. But you can always, if Cam Ward likes him that much, you can always say, Brian, would you like to stay on as QB coach?
Yeah,
obviously that's a joke, but I mean, you can't. If everything else is this bad, including just straight up game management, just complete idiocy, and then not knowing the rules, et cetera, well, then there are other coaches who can develop a quarterback in this league.
Well, and also the rules thing we've talked a lot about, but even going back to the end of the half, you haven't thrown the ball well all game, right? You've not moved the ball through the air all game, and you think with 47 seconds left, with the ball at your own 7 or 5 or wherever they're at, that's when you're going to start. It's time to be aggressive. It's just hard for me to imagine how you got there in your thought process of, I know we've not been able to do this the whole time. And in some other instances of the game prior to that, weren't willing to try. But now, with 47 seconds left in the half, in the shadow of our own end zone, now we're going to try to drop back and just chuck it down the field. I don't understand how you even get to that.
No, and that's where he got defensive. I couldn't totally hear what Paul asked him. I guess we could play that again at some point. But then to get defensive about that, we had some, I don't care what you had. You can't protect. You're playing against a great defense, and you can have the lead at halftime. You're going to get 50 yards? You can get 50 yards and get in field goal range? No. Take the freaking lead at halftime.
Did you know the play call?
I keep bouncing back and forth between this and not knowing the rules, and I think it's closer than some people think. This one really bothers me.
Did you know the play call? No, I didn't. But don't make that play call.
What
did
you
pass?
Have?
Okay, it's a bad play call. Stop.
Yeah, what amazing play call that we don't know would have mattered.
Bad day for Brian Callahan. I'm interested to get Corey Curtis's thoughts on it coming up at 8 o'clock. We got the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
What are you talking about, hockey right now? What are you doing?
I knew Daddy Callahan was overrated. I didn't know Baby Callahan was dumb.
You tell me, who is your daddy and what does he do?
Pin the tail on the Jaguar.
And we want him to be nothing more than him.
Hey, Izzo, don't bogart the bong.
We had a love fest. We all kind of gathered around. We hugged each other.
Oh, my God. My ass is burning.
It is time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. Brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Rise up to better health. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. Joe, the floor is yours, my friend.
Functional Medicine of Tennessee going to help me out. I need a lot of help. Help me, Functional Medicine of Tennessee. They're helping me. I need a lot of help.
In need of their services.
But today I need to remind everybody as we talk about the Tennessee Titans. I mean, we're talking a lot about the people who screwed up yesterday. You know, Brian Callahan, his game management, malpractice, his rule not knowing, his team with 13 penalties for 131 yards. Dan Moore, that offensive line, 6 sacks, 12 QB hits. Calvin Ridley, to quote Big Joe, a little Edward Scissorhands day for him. It's a really nice debut for Calvin Ridley. Jeff Simmons, an otherwise dominant day, you know, an idiotic penalty to make sure there'd be no comeback. I want to make sure that today we give everybody their just due. Let's remember whose fault this is. The person who gave gigantic extensions to John Robinson and Mike Vrabel, and less than 2 years later had fired both, to earn herself $1 gazillion in payments for people to not work for her. The person who fired one of them in the middle of the season while her team was in first place in division, basically ensuring they'd lose the next week to the team that would make an incredible comeback and win the division. The person who couldn't even communicate with the other guy she gave $1 gazillion to, who got bothered because he was put in the Ring of Honor by his franchise he played for, won Super Bowls for, who decided to make a point of going to media and saying, Mike Vrabel is safe, he's good. And then a few weeks later, no, he's fired. The person who replaced John Robinson with Rand Carthon using her keen instincts, then using the same instincts to hire Brian Callahan, then the same instincts to keep moving Chad Brinker up the build, move up the ladder so he has power of the GM and the sprinkler system at Titans headquarters, then firing Carthon, then further elevating Brinker, then firing half the league's, bringing in half the league's outcast GMs to help run things. The person who got the most public money in the history of the NFL to build a new stadium. Let's make sure today, folks, that we give Amy Adams Strunk her due. Congratulations. Here's your football team, Amy Adams Strunk. So proud you must be.
You know, when you spell it out like that,
I mean, I'm just saying, I want to make sure that we spread the credit around a little bit. I do have a text I want to read. This is Bobby and MJ says, do you think Brinker wanted to get rid of Callahan because he knew after last year Callahan was a moron? And do you think Amy wanted to keep Callahan because she herself is a moron? I don't know. I don't have an answer, but I just thought it was a text. You know, I'm missing a lot of the text line today, so I copied that one out of here and read it.
Do we think?
Thank you, Bobby and MJ.
Did Amy know the rule? Did Amy know the rule about the elbow being down? Do we think?
I don't know. That is a very good question.
Brian, did you know that when the receiver's elbow's down in bounds, that's a catch?
Do you know your elbow from your ass? How about that one?
To that point, Brian.
Measuring
your elbow
cheek size
or your ass, if you get either one of them down in bounds, it's a catch.
Meanwhile, as we're having this conversation, Keith says, "Oh, congrats on getting retweeted by Freezing Cold Takes. What an honor!" If that's true, let me just say, you know, I was joking
about the Ravens playing a close game.
Last night, I'm like, will the Ravens play a close game this year? I got 1,000 comments from like Bills fans. I think they might. Dude, I was joking. So that's fine. Freezing Cold Takes. You tweet me all you want.
Probably not the first time they've gotten you.
Oh
May not be the last.
But they've got me a few times, and like the other times it was just bad takes. I was joking. I mean, Jim Diamond's tweeting at me late last night. I'm like, dude, I was kidding.
Oh, I'm just now seeing that. That's awesome.
Did they just retweet it?
Yeah.
Oh, God, this is going to be so bad, my mentions. I hate Twitter. Also, Stilly's texting me.
Rats around here, so.
Stilly's texting me. What good things I'm killing? Let's shut up. Leave me alone, all of you.
I mean, the freezing cold takes said Rexrode took 1 week in the NFL season for Rexrode to be freezing cold taked. That's good to know. That might be a record. I mean, it looks like they did this I think last night. So you should be good. Yeah.
Oh, they did do it?
Yeah, I think last night's when they did.
Okay, well, that's why all the Bills
Yeah,
fans
you're
were
good.
all over me. Okay. I didn't notice that. Well, whatever. Screw you all. I'm sorry. I'm being a little bit mean today.
Coy says, I don't know which one's a bigger scam, Bill and Brian Callahan or an HOA. Very, very close. Almost an elbow lead.
Nice.
I mean, Daddy Callahan catching some strays on the text line today, too. Not a good day from Bill.
I mean, at some point, you would like to see the offensive line look like not a bottom 5 offensive line.
That'd
in the
be
NFL.
nice.
Both tackles were getting burned off the edge, I think, at multiple times.
I know.
I feel like, I guess I thought Latham was okay when he was in.
He was okay, but I just saw him once or twice.
Well, when he left the game, it was Katie bar the door.
Yeah. And again, I ain't looking for okay for J.C. Latham. I'm looking for really good, close to elite,
7th
right
overall
tackle.
pick.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for from J.C. Latham. And that is the standard that he is going to be held to this year. And if he doesn't get there, to me, it's a big problem.
There were some miscommunications. I do wonder how much were on the staff, the coaching staff, versus how much is on, rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
On that one screen where it looked like all 3 receivers were blocking.
Yeah.
And not one was ready for the catch.
The screen.
They didn't know. It's like they didn't know who was getting the ball.
Yeah.
Well, there were too many plays that looked like at least 1 or 2 people were like, "Oh,
Weren't
I'm
sure.
not," and that's bad coaching. It's what else could it be?
I'm totally with you. And to your point earlier in the show, like it just looked like too often there was nowhere to go with the ball, right? Like it's like, and I'm not even just talking about, Surtain out there locking somebody up. I'm talking about like outlets to go with the ball.
Issue
Like,
last year, I thought
I
there
know.
was no outlet for a blitz. When someone's coming and they're bringing 1 extra than you can block, there's no quick outlet dump off pass anywhere that I can see. That's like, what did James Cook yesterday for Buffalo? They brought the house. The dude leaks out. He gets him the ball and he takes it almost to the house.
Yeah.
I don't see stuff like that.
No, I thought the second sack, and I haven't looked at the all 22 or whatever, but the second sack of that just disastrous take advantage of the muff punt series, it looked like exactly like you said, like where is the quick hitter here or just a draw play? I mean, it looked like they were trying another long developing play. No. And again, this is where you get into, and Brian Callahan knows more football and offensive play, all that stuff than all of us combined.
Except for the rules.
Does not know the rule book. Also, I've heard not great at Pictionary. I heard his team lost. He didn't do a good job of,
The cornhole tournament didn't go well for him either.
Yeah, but he obviously knows offense. But I watch it, and I'm like, this is the worst possible thing you could do offensively. Those 2 plays, like anything but that. Kneel, go victory formation, and kick a field goal to take the lead. You might win.
Well, Corey Curtis from News 2 coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on the Tennessee Titans, get his thoughts on Brian Callahan and his disaster of a day yesterday. That's coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. Titans fall 20-12 in Denver, and they begin the season 0-1. And to help us talk more about that, we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Corey Curtis to the program. Brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic. Corey, good morning. How are you?
I am delightful, fellas. How are you? Have you guys killed each other yet, or no?
Not yet. Not yet.
No, we're in lockstep. I mean, when we should all be able to agree about some of the horrific things we saw yesterday.
Well, I think he's referring to the Lions and the Packers. But that's okay.
What? No, I'm laughing with Robby. Lions
Okay.
suck. I told my kid, and I told all Lions fans, it's about to get bad, and it's about to get bad.
Wow.
Oh, they're not very good. They're going 9-8.
I had somebody on Twitter tell me yesterday that Cam Ward was a bust, and I'm like, it took only 1 week.
1 week. Huh?
There we go.
All right, there we go.
And so, Lions bust.
So, Corey, let's start on the Brian Callahan front. I thought a pretty awful day for him yesterday on a variety of fronts.
Yep.
I want to start
so
with
good.
the end of the first half. So you're up 6-3. It was not necessarily a well-played game for you offensively. Defensively, you're making some plays. You were hanging in there. I thought Bo Nix was awful in the first half in particular yesterday. And you've got an opportunity to run the ball, hand it off, and go into the half up 6-3. And for some reason, that's when he chooses to be as aggressive as he was at any point in the game. And it ended up being a disaster for the Titans. So what did you make of that? How do you make that decision if you're Brian Callahan? What's your takeaway from that?
I think that's the most baffling part of that. So I'm glad you brought that up. Was I thought he was reasonably conservative in the first half. Like when they settled for the field goal on the opening drive, I thought that was absolutely the right move. Keep your quarterback out of position to make a mistake, take a sack, throw an interception, get the points on the board, just keep, your defense is doing great. Your special teams look much improved. I think that's, a huge plus from yesterday. Your special teams look much, much better. But then all of a sudden, with 5 seconds to play on your own 7, when they've only got 2 timeouts, so you can take a knee and get out of there. And you don't, and you decide now's the time I'm going to get aggressive. I mean, you got to go at least 50 yards to have a chance against that defense, which has been a struggle. And now you want to get aggressive? It baffles my mind. I mean, I even tweeted out immediately, you got to take a knee. Got to take a knee. Get to the locker room. I mean, I can't believe that someone on the sideline didn't run over and tackle him and say, what are you doing? It made no sense to me whatsoever. I know those guys all know more football or will forget more football than I'll ever know. But that decision is one that, I will never understand. I will put in my all-time bad category.
Yeah, there's football knowledge, and then there's math and common sense, which failed him miserably there. Well, I must say, because I'm with you on everything you said, and I think it was egregious. I think it was malpractice. I would like you to compare that then to Brian Callahan not knowing the rule on a catch, not challenging that play with Aya Manor, and then saying after the game the rule incorrectly in front of all the world. How do you weigh those two things?
Well, I mean,
what's worse?
No, I think the first half one is worse because he's known as a play caller. Okay, he's known as an offensive guy, and you got to know the situation. The other one isn't good because look, we've seen Mike Vrabel, for whatever ups and downs, knew the rules inside and out. I mean, we knew that. Jeff Fisher knew the rules inside and out. And so when we see a coach who doesn't know them like that, it stands out. And again, he should have a person who tells him, no, he only needs an elbow. It is on him to know the rule, but he should have a person who knows the rule as well to make sure that
all NFL coaches should probably know the rules.
Yeah,
I would agree. Like anyone who does this as their profession. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else should be there and say, hey, he only needs an elbow. Now, are we sure he got the elbow in? I don't know that.
I don't know.
No, but it's worth a challenge. I think he did. I'm not sure. I think he did. I would challenge it.
It wasn't like a lot of calls were going their way yesterday.
I mean, tell me that. Don't tell me that you need a foot in bounds. Yeah, like tell me, we didn't think it was going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't think he got in. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I know.
Because I never saw a replay where I thought, oh my gosh, the elbow is definitely in. But that's not what he said. I mean, if he had said, I don't think it was in, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, don't tell me you need to get all your digits on the grass like you're playing Twister to be in, you know?
Good stuff there. All right, so Corey, Cam Ward sacked 6 times yesterday. I believe the Broncos got credited with 12 quarterback hits. Now, I think for sure 2, and I'd have to go back and look through all of them again. You could maybe make the argument for more than 2, but for sure 2 of those sacks are on Cam Ward. But you're still talking about an offensive line that allowed the quarterback to get hit 12 times yesterday. So what's your takeaway from that?
Well, he got pressured on 50% of his throws, most in the league. And so, yes, it was a tough day for the young man. We knew it was going to be. I am probably unreasonably, hard on him because I think I even tweeted out, is this Will Levis or is this Cam Ward? Get rid of the ball, throw it away. And people are like, hey, he's got nowhere to throw it. It'll be intentional grounding. I'm of the opinion of quarterback, you have to know the situation of I got to minimize damage here. The one where they were down 12-10 and had the ball and he took the 2 sacks to knock him out of field goal range. I understand that was a tough spot. But for me, you got to keep yourself in field goal range first and foremost. Yep. He knows where the patterns are. Chuck it into the stands. Or get down, don't retreat and go back further. And he's a rookie. It was his first game. And again, that's another area where Brian Callahan could have gotten conservative on 3rd down and run the ball and made sure Joey Sly, who had a great day, especially for people who drafted him in fantasy, had a great day, would have a chance to give you the lead. Because by my take, they gave away 13 points in that game. The decision at halftime where they gave up the touchdown, that one where they took the 2 sacks, knocking them out of field goal range, and then the Pollard fumble after they had gotten the interception. So that's at least 3 points. So there's 13 points that they gave away in that game. And so, I understand he's a gunslinger, and I understand it's a difficult situation. And so, like I said, I'm probably too hard on him, but there's just a time when incomplete is way more important than complete in that situation. If it's an impossible situation, then I apologize to him. But that's just my take.
So the offense was absolutely atrocious. Special teams was overall very encouraging. What about the defense? What's your overall takeaway from the defense, Corey?
Well, they created 3 turnovers, which was good. I haven't looked at the overall numbers. As Robby said, they made, Bo Nix look pretty average. They gave him a chance to tie the game at the end. It was funny because I told Julian in the office, I'm like, we haven't called Devondre Sweat's name all day. And then on 4th and inches, he blows up the play and gets him the ball back. And I'm like, well, boom, there it is. So they made plays. I think that was the most encouraging thing is they made plays. The interceptions, the run defense, they did give up some stuff, but I thought largely the run defense was pretty good most of the day. And you knew as the game went on, they were probably going to get worn out and give up a few things. But, holding Denver to 20 points, I think that's a win. In that situation, you had some bad situations in the one end of the half. Jarvis Brownlee, I understand he wants to be physical. He got to figure that out a little bit because I got news for him. The word is out. All right. They're watching him. And I guess you could say, well, you hold them and make them stop calling it. Well, they haven't stopped yet. So, that's one thing that they've got to figure out. But playmaking was there. And so that was encouraging. Now, Femi Oladejo got pressure, but he was unblocked on those pressures. So
right.
I don't know how much credit we can give him for those.
He did look like a good pass rusher when they just completely ignored him and said,
Yeah.
go ahead and run straight at the guy.
It was like twice. It was like Sean Payton said, hey, don't worry about this guy. He won't get there. All right.
It was pretty incredible. It's like, wow, I just no one blocking him
Ooh.
right there. Good stuff.
Nice pass rush move.
So
Run.
Corey, in totality here, it's week one. So I totally understand it. But you are talking about now a 3-15 head coach and a head coach yesterday that through a couple of different instances looked incompetent, right? Like, I mean, it is what it is. He looked incompetent yesterday. How damaging is yesterday's game for Brian Callahan in your mind? Whether that's you want to go job status later on in the season, you want to go in the locker room and how he's perceived in there. How damaging was that yesterday?
It wasn't good. I mean, like we said, the stuff before halftime is egregious, and I keep thinking to Matt Eberflus last year after the Washington loss. They were done with him at that point.
How about that Detroit loss?
Yeah, I mean, the Detroit loss, with the time issue, absolutely. You know, those things get you, and when it starts going on that he didn't know the rule, that's not going to look good with his team either, because they need to know that the people that are teaching them stuff are people that they can count on. The other thing though is they spent the entire offseason, focused on eliminating self-inflicted negatives. 13 penalties yesterday.
Yeah.
And so you say you had an entire offseason to work on this, and you had 13 penalties for 131 yards. And at that point, you just say, appreciate all the things you're doing to try to fix it. But one game, now next game they might come out, commit 3. But in one game, it did nothing to fix it. It did nothing to fix it. And at that point, you're like, okay. You know, they always say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting, you know, a different result. You know, you just have to say, is he not the guy to fix it? You know, you need Nick Saban in here to make sure they stop committing penalties. I don't know, but I think those things are damning. I think those 3 things are really damning, and he's got a lot of work to do, you know, to overcome them. Does that mean he can't overcome them? No. I mean, people were, you know, Dan Campbell in Detroit looked like a moron, you know, when things started. He's chugging 40-ounce coffees, and the team looked like the Lions, and then he got it turned around. And so he can still do that. But he's against the line right now, because I know fans are circling.
Oh,
okay, and I can't imagine the front office is thrilled. But I think the most important thing is what you point out is the locker room. You know, they have to still believe in him. You have to have those guys because they did fight hard yesterday. There's no question about that. There's no question that they battled and tried. But if they don't believe in the guy leading them, it'll get ugly.
He did teach him how to play Yahtzee this summer, so got that going for him.
Hey, I like Yahtzee.
I really always hated that game. I hated Yahtzee. My great grandma would have us play Yahtzee, and I'd be like, "Nah, I don't really like Yahtzee."
They play Hungry Hippos. What all went down? A lot of stuff you could do. Shoots and ladders.
Underrated game.
Yep.
Corey,
Candyland.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
And now we're talking.
Ooh,
Corey, great stuff. Unfortunately, more of the same from the Titans yesterday. Hopefully, at some point that will improve in our lifetime.
Yeah.
We appreciate you taking time to be with us today.
Again, it's just the whole thing of finding ways to lose instead of finding ways to win.
Yep.
And I think that's the most frustrating thing. That's the most frustrating thing because everyone was prepared to see them lose yesterday.
Yep.
And if you told everybody it was going to be 20-12 and they'd have the ball with a chance to tie the game, everybody would say, I will take it. But it's all the stuff that happened in between that you just go, oh, it's no different. And that's the crippling part.
Yep, absolutely. Corey, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Corey Curtis brought to you by
Bear down.
CC Men's Clinic. He joins us every Monday morning at 8 o'clock here on the program. A lot of your thoughts to get into on the Titans front. Hang with us on our phone line, our text line. We'll get with you. We'll continue to react to the Titans' 20-12 loss to Denver and a bad day for Brian Callahan coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
End of half sequence with three split passing plays.
Yeah, I was trying to be aggressive and see if I can get the ball moved out from underneath there, and we've kind of gotten a little bit of rhythm, so trying to take advantage of some momentum potentially, and it didn't really work out in our favor in that point.
Worst case scenario, they have to turn around, score a touchdown, the way that they did.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, yeah. It's a wild swing in the end of the first half that I was, tough to overcome those when you put yourself in that spot. And again, trying to be aggressive, see if we can get the ball moving back forward the other way a little bit, and didn't really work out for us.
The horizontal passing qualify as aggressive there. What did you see that showed you that throwing the ball sideways is going to get you around?
Did you have the play calls, Paul? Did you see him? Okay.
What were you expecting out of it?
We had a couple aggressive play calls down the field, try to work across the field with some of the man coverage they were playing. So we just didn't hold up well enough in protection. They covered it pretty well.
That's Brian Callahan after the game yesterday.
It doesn't get less infuriating.
No, it doesn't. Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. So I finally heard Kuharski's question there.
Yeah, horizontal passes.
Horizontal passes there. Is that aggressive? Does that qualify as aggressive?
When you play Connect 4, you go diagonal or you're straight up and down.
What's your strategy in tic-tac-toe?
My goodness. We got to have some fun, right?
This is what we're going to have to do this year, because I can't sit here and do this every Monday. I'm just like, well.
Especially my husband, Archie Bunker.
I mean, you really are close. Your Edith Bunker is good.
Thank you. Yeah, Callahan and Kuharski might be headed for some special moments.
Might be.
But it's
could be today.
And I mean, really, tell you what,
He'll probably apologize.
Brian Callahan?
Yeah.
He should start his presser saying, guys, it's absolutely inexcusable for an NFL coach to not know the rules and situations
He'll be
like that.
I was frustrated after the game. It was one of the most frustrating games we've had. And
oh, you think he'll apologize to PK?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm talking about apologizing for not knowing the rules.
Well,
maybe apologize to all of football.
He'll probably maybe.
I'm an NFL head coach. How about apologize? Just an entire here's my list of people I need to apologize for.
I have a list.
Will Levis, you should have been rookie of the year last year. My coaching robbed you of that. My apologies.
Apologize to his dad. Bill, big coach. I'm sorry for hiring you and putting you in this position to make you look like a terrible O-line coach and ruin your reputation.
Ruin your entire legacy. Yes.
Or, Dad, any chance this offensive line cannot be buns at some point? Be great.
It's our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Scott in Hendersonville. Scott, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, one thing that really stood out to me, it's bugged me for 3 years, but it really stood out to me yesterday. When the Denver was putting the game away, the Titans were out there with corners that were just getting abused, and they were in their base D, I guess, due to the personnel. They were also trying to guard against the run, but they're out there in their 3-4 base with no nickel on the field. McCreary's sitting on the bench for a good part of the second half, and they're out there with guys that cannot play, just due to injuries, poor roster management, et cetera. And it's been an issue in the past, but other than Simmons, McCreary is probably the second best defender on the team. And, he played outside as a corner as a rookie and did fine. And they thought, well, he's a prototypical nickel. We want somebody a little taller, or longer arms. That's it, longer arms. We need somebody back there with longer arms. Well, why are you out there with scrubs that are getting abused with McCreary on the bench? It's like having a guy, he's the best starting pitcher on your team. Oh, he's a prototypical middle reliever. It's just infuriating that they pigeonholed him, and he's not. And the quarterback play has been an issue for years, and it's just something that I don't hear mentioned that just really sticks out.
Yep.
I don't know what your thoughts on this.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
It's nice to have a alternative kind of obscure complaint, but no, I know what he's saying. I think you have personnel groupings and things. I think that goes also in tandem with like L'Jarius Sneed's on a pitch count. Let's burn it all up in the first quarter.
Yeah, let's not play in the second half.
And you're hamstrung. But I would agree. Like Roger McCreary should be on the field. One way or the other, like you shouldn't have a grouping, or you should be able to adjust and have him on the field.
Yeah.
In important moments.
Yeah. Well, by the way, and if you're worried about his, short arms, it was good when he went and high pointed the ball against Cortland Sutton yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
I'd say he probably needs to be on the field as much as possible.
Can I just read this? We've been all very negative today, but I just want to read this text.
Okay.
Unnamed texture. Quote, it was an ugly day, but we beat ourselves against a really good defense. We were better than I thought. You just got to clean things up. I said, bring that sunshine. And the response is, we can win next week and everything changes. And I think we played the best defense we're going to see this year. The rest are wearing us out. Had to keep that 8 points. All right. Okay. Yes. But that's
agree
the first
on
optimistic comment I've heard today.
That might be the best defense. I do agree with that. That might be the best defense they'll see all year.
This next one's pretty tough.
Next one's pretty good too. There's a few on there that are pretty good. Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in Gorilla to the program. Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, man, I have a positive spin on the game. And that is, we know that Callahan is not an NFL coach. That's understood now. I'm in the mindset that it might not have necessarily been Will Levis. But anyway, guys, check this out. The litmus test is out on this staff, on this coaching staff, and that is, what did Tyler Lockett do? What did Van Jefferson do? These guys both took 2 roster spots over Cam Ward's safety blanket. I've been beating the pavement since we drafted Cam Ward for Restrepo. I've been beating it. All we need is a good safety blanket. Remember, he's not on page with none of these receivers. This thing looked horrible, guys. I mean, I'm sick. I'm going to be honest with you, Titan fans. Get ready for it. Another 3-14 season. I'm sorry. That defense is
unless Restrepo
good. No. I'm watch it, guys, because what you're not going to do, you're not going to change a leopard spot. Brian Callahan is who he is. He doesn't know the tempo, the rhythm of a game. He's not going to change. And if he does change 1 or 2 series, he's going to dupe right back into what we've seen. This is unacceptable. We need to get rid of this bomb. They need to bring Restrepo up as a safety blanket out of the slot position. I don't know why we went and got Tyler Lockett. That's so Tennessee Titan for you to go get these old washed up receivers and try to get something out of them. Man, I'm sick. I'm serious, guys. We're gonna have a rough season. It's not getting any better. Did you watch?
All right, thank you for the call. We get the point.
Yeah, we got to do time limit on. I like what Andrew does. I like Andrew's 1 minute Oscar music thing.
Stop calling in and talking for more than 2 minutes. That's going to be our new strategy.
Give us a quick hit.
Get to it quickly.
Quick hit, and then we'll go. And the quick hit is apparently Restrepo is the answer.
Yeah, apparently so. I didn't have that one on the card today.
Probably not.
You never know. You just never. We had some interesting calls this segment.
We did. Yeah, I mean, look, on the Callahan not changing the spot. I mean, I've said this the whole show.
We haven't really known what is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we're starting to
3-15,
like the
and
look.
it's starting to become pretty clear. And the charge is on him to fix it, and I am rapidly running out of faith that he's going to be able to do that. A lot more of your thoughts to get to on the Titans front. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. I got some tickets to give away to see Judas Priest and Alice Cooper at First Bank Amphitheater coming up on Sunday, September 21st. Be caller 5-615-737-1025.
Rock it out, baby. I got a shout out to Jack in the YouTube chat. Someone told Joe Levis wasn't a rookie last year. That is a fair point.
It's true. Hard to win Rookie of the Year.
See, I'm ripping on people for not knowing the rules. I don't even know what year Will Levis was last year in the NFL. Maybe I should shut up.
I mean, on the Callahan front, here's where I'm at with him. You know, we talked last year at the end of the year when they were firing Rand Carthon about how I would have just gone ahead and cleaned house. They didn't do that, so it is what it is. It's fine. I have an open mind on him this year when it comes to the quarterback because generally, I agree that the idea of the quarterback and the head coach and the same system being married together and coming up together is a good thing. Having said that, you know what's not a good thing for your quarterback? If you're pairing him with a bad head coach. It's not good. Like, continuity for the sake of continuity is stupid. And I've said that for a long time. So we're off to a rough start, baby. It's a rough start with Brian Callahan in game one. And, you know, for all the offseason talk about, you know, trying to limit the penalties and trying to avoid beating yourself. And boy, did they beat themselves yesterday. I mean, that was a master class in beating yourself yesterday. And that's a rough way to begin the season. I don't know that you really could have handpicked a worse way to begin the season for Brian Callahan specifically yesterday. And then that's not without even getting into the rule stuff, which I just think is a huge problem. Like the fact that he didn't know that rule, I don't think is going to go over very well in that locker room. I think it's a big deal. And I just think yesterday was a disaster for Brian Callahan. So, I mean, it's reached the point with me, Joe, where I'm trying like mad to hang on to have some hope here that maybe he ends up figuring it out. But deep down, I kind of realize that it's probably not going to happen. Like deep down, I kind of know that they're probably going to be looking for another head coach.
On my personal text line, driven by frozen pizza. I know. Quote, the players see and hear this. They experienced it. They may say, we support Coach Callahan. We appreciate he showed confidence in the offense. Deep down, they're like, we ain't playing for Andy Reid or McVay. We're playing for Rich Kotite.
Yeah.
Nice Rich Kotite reference.
Nice.
Anonymous texter to my text line.
That is nice.
Rich Kotite. Good Lord. You don't want to be compared to him. No, I totally like this is one of those moments that can lose you. Again, when I say lose a locker room, I hate the whole playing for a coach. Yeah. These guys are professionals. They're playing for their families. They're playing for each other. Yes, you want them to like their boss, right? And in this work environment, you know, respect him. And this is where it's like, okay, the guy in charge knows less about the game than I do. Monty Hooker can say that today. He knew the rule yesterday. It was clear in the replay. And that's a tough look, man, for a coach trying to, again, young head coach trying to make it in this league, trying to prove he belongs, came into a bad situation, bad roster. Yesterday was on him more than anybody else. And I don't know that I said that after any of the games last year. I don't think so. I don't think was there ever a game last year that was like, this one is on Brian Callahan? I don't think so. Now, there was overall,
too
it was
busy
bad.
watching the quarterback throw the ball over the back of his head and the special teams getting punts blocked every week. So,
yeah. So it's like it's overall bad product on him. Overall, having all rookie coordinators on him, things like that.
Yeah.
But like the game was an embarrassing, terrible performance by the head coach. Right. I don't think that happened. Really not good for him for that to happen in week one of his second year as he's trying to keep his job.
Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in Gil to the program. Gil, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
How y'all doing this morning?
Doing good. Good.
Yeah, my thing, I didn't expect us to have a good season this year. My thing is them not being able to get it right. I mean, the left tackle, I already knew that this was coming, just like the $2 steak dude that we got rid of. Miami paid all that money. You know what I mean? We get these players and we want to try to make them better when we getting what we paid for. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. And then with Callahan, I felt all along we needed to go back to original offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and let him look over the team. He just seems over his head as a full head coach. And we brought him here for the offense, and that's the weakest part of the team right now. So I felt we needed to get a good offensive coordinator and let him look over him and run his offense and make sure it runs right. And we just didn't do it. And it's just like we get these opportunities to fix these problems, and we just can't never get it fixed. So I don't think we should get another coach unless he just loses the whole team. But other than that, we're just going to have to ride it out and maybe get an offensive coordinator next year because this year it's too late.
Thank you, Gil. Appreciate the call. Well, I can tell you this.
$2 steak, dude.
That was awesome.
Poor Aaron Brewer.
I can tell you this. We've had a couple of these questions today about, like, should he give up play calling? It's too late for that. Like, I mean, he is going to sink or swim at this point when it comes to being the play caller. Like,
if he does that, he's giving up the job altogether.
Yeah, he's going to get fired.
That's why he got hired.
Yeah, it's part of why he got hired. He's developing all those things. And I understand that, the CEO and being the overseer of all of it's very important. And that's what you are as a head coach. But at this point, like, if they don't have confidence in him pretty quickly into the year that he can't call plays anymore, why are you keeping him? Like, he'll be gone.
Yeah. As some people throwing out Mike McCoy, offensive assistant, who's been an OC. That's not going to happen. And again, to me, the play calling in terms of like designing a game plan, we've seen good scripted drives in the Titans, stuff like that. He knows offense. It's game management is where he failed yesterday. It's being the CEO and realize, let's see, we're up 6-3. They only have 2 timeouts. We're inside our 5. We can't protect. Yeah, let's let it rip, baby. That's not the plays you're calling. That's like the game management of, no, it doesn't matter what pass play you call. You don't call a pass play at all. So here's a texter. I think this is true of a fair amount of people, I'm guessing. Quote, I was very optimistic before the season started about Brian. I thought Will lost us a lot more games than Brian did last year. But after yesterday, I will immediately say I was extremely wrong and I'm already done with him. I think some people had their minds changed for the worse on Brian Callahan yesterday. And people even who were like, oh, I still think this guy's smart and I hear him talk and the pedigree's good and I think he can do it.
Well, again, I understand. I'm trying really hard not to overreact to one game and especially week one in an NFL season that we know there are some results that you can look back each year in week one and say, well, good Lord, how did that happen? Like, who knows? Maybe Miami goes on to be some playoff team this year and the Colts are terrible. They got smoked yesterday. Like, so I have no idea. I don't know what it's going to look like. But I also think in the NFL, Joe, there are some performances, there are some games that just feel a little bit different. And yesterday was one of them. Like, I think I go back to the question I asked Corey Curtis. How damaging was that for Callahan yesterday? And I think the answer is extremely. I think that was an extremely damaging game for him and his long-term outlook, short-term outlook as a coach for this football team.
I do too. Now, I still also believe, and it's like put an asterisk next to it, but I think Amy Adams-Strong does not want to fire someone quickly again. I really believe that. I mean, she hears what people say. I know that. She hears what people say.
Yep.
And so I think that helps him. And the Cam Ward thing, of course, helps him. It's like, does Cam Ward like you? Do they work together? How's Cam playing? Does it keep getting better? Okay. So those things I think definitely work in his favor. But at some point, if you're as bad as he was yesterday in terms of just being a CEO, then at some point it trumps everything.
Yeah, you can't overcome that. And again, like on the Ward front, at some point you're like, hey, coach, I need you to know the rule. That's what I need. Let me play quarterback. I need you to know the rule. That would be awesome. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Final thoughts on the Titans and the Broncos. Coming up next, you're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025, The Game.
because I know what we have in this room.
Did you touch my drum set? Hey, knock it off! I know you touched my drumstick.
Because I believe in what you guys are capable of.
You swear on your mom's life that you didn't touch it then.
The urgency every time we walk in.
I know you touched my drum set, and I want to hear that dirty little mouth admit it.
It should be urgent as We have to make each other better every day we step out.
If you touch my drums, I will stab you in the neck with a knife.
Oh, boy. We knew it would come back at some point this year.
Woo!
The Brian Callahan stepbrothers matchup there. Maybe Ian's the greatest thing he's ever done, which is saying something.
Who's his Will Ferrell?
God, I don't know. Brinker?
Yeah, I guess, right? We'll go with that. It could have been Rand, but Rand's gone.
Just screaming up there. It's a Catalina wine mixer.
Great movie. For those who haven't seen Step Brothers.
Yeah, I'd encourage you to check it out. Not in front of your children. Man, what a day. Yeah, but we haven't even gotten to discuss, Vanderbilt went into the second half and just absolutely smoked Virginia Tech. We're going to get more into that tomorrow.
We'll hit some CFB tomorrow.
Yeah, hit some college football tomorrow. But, I mean, it's been basically the Brian Callahan show. That's how bad it was. Like, that's my takeaway. That's how bad it was. I came into the show this morning wondering, Joe, like, am I about to go over the top? Like, is it about to be too far with the criticism? I don't think so. Like, I think it was that bad yesterday. And if you're a Titans fan and you watch it and you hear about all the things in the offseason and you're excited about Cam Ward and you got, a new regime in here now and Borgonzi's come in and they've done all these things in the offseason to preach accountability. And you see a game go like that yesterday with the penalties, with the just shooting yourself in the foot all the time, Broncos trying to gift wrap you the game and you just hand it right back to them. And then you factor in the coaching decisions and not knowing rules. Like it just, if it was great to have NFL football back yesterday, like looking around, it's like, oh yeah, NFL Sunday, it's back. It's awesome. And if you're a Titans fan, you're like, good God, it's the same old thing, man. Same old thing is what it felt like yesterday.
Yeah. Some of this, the no touchdown, 12 points, bad pass protection. These are things that we're all sick of seeing for way, way too long. And, if the Titans go for a third straight, just terrible season, go look at the history of the franchise. This should never happen in the NFL. And it really isn't part of the history of this franchise either, but we're staring at it. But the thing that stood out about yesterday that was different, it just rises above all the other crap is the coaching. It was a truly terrible performance.
He looked like a buffoon yesterday.
And again, there's those two things in particular: malpractice game management, and then post game confirming he doesn't know a rule you have to know as a coach of any sort, let alone a head coach in the NFL. And someone on the text line brought up, and I'm not big on, I swear, bringing Vrabel into the discussion. Vrabel's team sucked yesterday.
Yep.
And he's 0-1, and everybody in New England who thinks he's the next Paul Revere can calm down, right? The British are coming. Is that Paul Revere?
That's Paul Revere.
That was Paul Revere. I was like, no, wait, did he do the Tea Party? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. American history. Well educated.
The Raiders are coming. The Raiders are coming.
But like Vrabel, as a Titans coach, as people may remember, may not want to remember, he was so good with the rules. Like he was schooling Bill Belichick in a playoff game. He several times in games helped win games by taking penalties to stop the clock and things like that and use the rule book to his advantage. Knew it up and down, back and forth, went through, watched all these games to get situational football down. And for this guy, who is a very smart guy, Brian Callahan, to be that ill-informed is truly astounding.
Well, it's your job as an NFL head coach to know the rules. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? Like, it's your job. And I keep coming back to the locker room part of this. Like, how are you, if you're a Titans player and you hear him say that after the game, what are your thoughts coming into work today, right? Like, what are you looking, you're going in the meeting and it's like, okay, so if you don't know that, what else don't you know, right? What else are we not getting here?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard not to think that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, on a day-to-day basis, he may blow them away with film and game theory, and if you're Cam Ward, you may be like, oh, this guy's a wizard, and yeah, he made a mistake on that thing, but this guy's great. I don't know. I have no idea. There's a lot of stuff we don't know about what goes on in that building, but you have 17 chances a year to show it on a field in front of the world, and man, after all this talk and all the different things, trying to fix chemistry and everything, and then again, even like the discipline. You have the penalty, a ridiculous day of penalties. Your captain makes a ridiculous mistake at the end of the game. It's a great play in 2002 when they didn't always call plays like that.
Right.
That Jeff Simmons did. There's just so much to be alarmed by on the coaching front.
Well, and again, this is it's not the same as last year, because last year, we talked about it. There was a lot of positivity about Will Levis heading into the year, and a lot of talk about how they feel like they could be pretty good football team and checking every box and all that. It wasn't the same this offseason. I thought Brian Callahan the last week or so was more measured, just in terms of, hey, we got to go prove it. I feel really good about where we're at, but got to go prove it. Well, you read between that, it's like, well, you feel really good about where we're at, and that was the end result there. So what does that tell you? Not very good. Not very good. We're going to have you covered all day long here on 102.5 The Game. Full reaction to the Titans' loss in Denver in Week 1. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.